doesn't want to perform?
And we're in 2019. I guess we have to stress the point that this year is for the Irish Woman of the Year.
This medal is from the National Assembly of Quebec. It is given to someone who stands out for their leadership skills, their commitment, and especially in giving back to the community. Madame O'Farrell, votre nom se retrouvera parmi d'autres grands noms dans le registre de l'Assemblée nationale du Québec.
love bagpipes, but some people don't. And one guy asked me one day, he says, what's the difference between bagpipes and onions? I said, I don't know. Because nobody cries when you chop up bagpipes. Because I would drive from the plateau all the way to St. Lazare it was Wednesday nights, right? And our game, the puck drop was 10:30. And then we finish at midnight. And then we go upstairs and lie about how well we played with beers and chicken wings. So we did that for a few years, and of course here ice hockey at rinks in your backyard in St. Lazare. Just so many wonderful memories. And I think just being here and seeing all of you here and being able to honor Brenda this way, it's such a beautiful, wonderful thing. So thank you, Brenda O'Farrell.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for a lot of beautiful speech.
With International Women's Day just this past week, I say it was time to choose an Irish Woman of the Year. Do you agree? And not only has the committee made this excellent decision, they have chosen the great Brenda O'Farrell. Committee, you have chosen well. Here are some of the reasons why. First, Brenda has that most essential quality of any Irish woman or man, a great love and respect for the written word. She is a writer, a journalist, an editor. She is a great person to sit opposite a glass of wine or a cup of tea and talk for hours. Brenda's journalism has appeared in too many publications to name, and as many of you know, she enjoyed a long career as senior editor at the Montreal Gazette newspaper. But many of you may not know how it really all began. Brenda O'Farrell had a paper route. Yes, her stellar publishing career began with a paper route several years ago. A success that has gloriously continued throughout her life into founding her new media company, Ballyporeen, named after the town where all the O'Farrells come from, in Ireland. Brenda O'Farrell. And toast her till the road rises up to meet her and beyond.
Brenda's tireless hours of dedication have made her the unanimous choice when the ballots were finally counted. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to help us usher in a new era, as well as to help our past Irish Men of the Year to welcome a lassie into their fold. So, on behalf of the Hudson Parade Committee, I ask you to raise a glass to Brenda O'Farrell, our first Irish Woman of the Year, and someone of whom we could not be proud. Cheers. Brenda.
I am a Hudsonite. I've been living in Hudson for 29 years now. I'm the new guy. I see we have a couple of town councilors here. It's terrific. Congratulations on the potholes. There are more fish in our potholes than there are in Pine Lake. I saw some guys set up an ice fishing hut on one of them. Wonderful thing. And I have to, of course, I have to say, Madame Picard, welcome, and it's wonderful to see you. I feel like I know you, because your campaign poster, about 6 feet by 6 feet, was stapled to the hydro pole at the top of my driveway. So every time I left, and every time I came home, I saw you. I first met Brenda playing hockey. And Fred, to say that Brenda scored a goal on you, I scored a goal on you. And so, it's not a big deal. I always said God played a very cruel trick on me. He gave me an absolute passion for two sports and no ability to play either of them. I was really surprised earlier this week when I read an article about her in the Gazette. Go figure. The Gazette did an article on her. What did surprise me was the fact that she talked about how humble she was when this honor was bestowed upon her. Because I remember in the past, Brenda telling me, when it comes to humility, I'm the best. May those who love you, and those who don't, may God turn their hearts. And if He can't turn their hearts, may He turn their ankles so you can see them coming. Brenda O'Farrell.
Now we have our first Irishwoman, Brenda O'Farrell. We finally found someone with the balls for the job. You might know I was the 2012 Irishman of the Year. You will be relieved to know that the selection process has improved considerably. Around at you will note the bar is considerably low. It might surprise some of you know that Brenda applied for membership at Mensa Canada, the club for Canadian geniuses. She did so after completing a Are You a Genius Facebook quiz. Another unique way about the Irish is the way they dance. Irish girls and boys were told to keep their hands to themselves when they danced, because inappropriate touching was a mortal sin. Now as they dance, they keep their hands stiff at their sides and work off their sexual frustration by moving their feet like they had a hot chili pepper stuck up. Okay? Because it's the lady? No. Where's this lady?
You realize that one side holding the stick.
Yeah, I know that. I want you to hold a firm grip with your two hands. This came much easier to the Irishman of the Year, but I'm sure you could do it. The entrance to the lady? Yeah. Okay, in the name of St. Bridget, where are you ready yet? In the name of St. Bridget of Kildare, who once said, celibacy isn't all it's cracked up to be. St. Brendan the Navigator, who once said, it's better to have 10 men leaking in an open boat than 10 men sinking in a leaking boat. And St. Patrick, who said, he that believes will be saved. He who does not believe will be shipped over to England. And I give you the 2019 shillelagh.
You will learn, Brenda, that former Irishman of the Year, Frank Hicks, knows how to distribute the Irish whiskey. All right.
Okay, fill them all up, Pat.
Come on, there's nothing in there. Hey? Okay. Go ahead. Say when, Frank.
we toast for Brenda? Brenda, throughout your life, may your friends surround you like a warm blanket on a cold winter's night, offering you warmth, comfort, security, and peace. And may all your enemies just fuck off.
Not from Hudson and has never met Frank Hicks before, my apologies. I've known Frank for a few years and everybody says, oh, it's just Frank. It's just Hudson. I said, well, you know, there's going to be a lot of people that have never been to Hudson before and never met Frank, will probably never want to meet him again. But seriously, Frank, I hope you think I'm just joking. The only words that come to mind is to say that it's simplement bouleversant. And then we have the boys in the band. The former Irishwoman of the Year. I'm trying to think of what point that I'm not sure when it happened when I thought I would be honored to be invested into a group of balding old men.
Ryan, she's talking about you.
See, I think they were just going for a little bit more sparkle and a little less shine. Is to just simply tell you a story. And as a journalist, that's what we traffic in. We deal with stories, and there's fortunately never a shortage of them. Every day, newspapers are filled with them, TV newscasts never run short. But one by one, day after day, all these stories, we tend to forget them. What makes headline news today turns into yesterday's news tomorrow, and then they fade from the public conversation and we forget them. But every once in a while, not often, but every once in a while, we come across a story that touches us, it lightly brushes our consciousness, and for some reason, we end up remembering them. And these are the stories we carry with us. And throughout my career, I often wondered, what is the difference between a story we remember and a story we forget? And I've come up with a theory. According to my analysis, there are three things that make up a story we remember. And most stories don't have any of these elements. Some stories have one, some have two. But when the three elements come together, this is a tale we will remember and we carry with us. The first element is that the story needs to begin and end at the same place. The trajectory of the narrative cannot be linear. It needs to be more organic in shape. It needs to be whole. And we even have a term for this. We refer to it as a story that comes full circle. The second element is that the theme of this story has to be simple. Nothing complicated, nothing contrived, nothing convoluted. Because the theme is not designed to entertain the mind. The theme is designed to be understood by the heart. And I have found that, especially when you're dealing with a group of really bright people, it pays to have this theme repeated because it takes a little bit of time for them to let their head get out of the way so their heart can see it. And the third element is that everyone who sees it, everyone who hears this story, everyone who witnesses it, has the same reaction. They all wish that they had a little bit of that in their own lives. And that inspires them. It inspires them to be better, to do better, to demand better. So it is with those three things in mind that I would like you, or I'd like to share with you my story. My story begins on a cold winter day just before Christmas in 1999, when I received a knock at the door. At this time, it was just a few weeks after my younger brother had passed away. And when he died, he was 29 years old, and he had an 8.5-month-old daughter. And on this night, she was brought to my door and handed to me and placed in my care. She arrived wearing a little pair of pajamas and a snowsuit, and she came with a bag, a car seat. And in that bag was another pair of little pajamas with the little feet on them, and 2 diapers. And I can tell you that I did not see this coming. Because at this time, my big plan for the evening was to finish my glass of wine, go to bed, and get up and go to work the next morning. And I was a very busy person. At that time, I was the national editor of the Montreal Gazette, and I worked with all the political reporters, those in Montreal, those assigned to the Quebec City Bureau at the Assemblée Nationale, and those at Parliament Hill in Ottawa. And it was also at this time that I was in negotiation with Jim Duff and Louise Craig to buy the Hudson Gazette, actually. But on this night, I found myself wondering about myself, because I was the kind of person that only had enough milk in my fridge for coffee the next morning. I did not have a crib. I did not have a playpen. I did not have a high chair. I had never changed a diaper in my life. And I did not have any clothes that could remotely fit such a short person. And as I sort of paced the floor in my living room that night, I found myself asking the question, why me? And I can tell you that there is absolutely no value in asking a question that there is no answer to. But fortunately, and I say fortunately in retrospect because I didn't feel it at the time, but fortunately the circumstances forced me to focus not on that question, but on a question that was much more pressing. And that question was, what am I going to do? And somehow that question seemed a little bit more hopeful, because that question could have an answer. I had to figure it out, but because this was an unprecedented situation, I was in a position where I could script the answer to that question as I saw fit. And today, I look back at all of this, and I'm very pleased to tell you that this little child, who's not so little anymore, is here this evening. She's with us. She still lives with me. But today, she's a 20-year-old student at John Abbott College, finishing up in the police tech department. She has an ambition to go to university. And I might be biased, but I think she has a very bright future ahead of her. And I look back at all that we've done together, all that she has taught me, and I can tell you without a doubt in my mind that she has been the most wondrous adventure of my life. And this is relevant because Not that long ago, on a cold winter evening, just before Christmas in 2018, I received another knock on the door. It was almost 19 years to the day from the first knock. But this time, I was handed a bottle of wine, and in waltzed Jay de la Durante. Now, for those of you that don't know, Jay is the chairman of the organizing committee of the St. Patrick's Day Parade. And he waltzed in and sat down, and we opened that bottle of wine, and he told me, I did not know he had taken on this position, so he tells me the news, and he says, you know, to mark the 10th anniversary, we're going to do a little something different. We're going to name the first Irishwoman of the Year, and what did I think about that? And I thought it was a great idea, I thought it was wonderful, it was about time. And then he looked at me with a smirk, and he told me it was me. And I can tell you, I did not see that coming. And all of a sudden, I found myself in my living room again, asking the question, which I'm sure maybe crossed the mind of many people here tonight. Why me? And Jay actually started talking and talking and talking, and I don't quite remember exactly what he said, but I know that it didn't quite answer the question, because again, I don't think there really is an answer. But he did say something that spoke to me. He finally turned to me and said, just say yes. It could be a wonderful adventure. And with those words, I accepted. And after he left, I found myself pacing the floor in my living room once again, thinking, okay, I'm not going to dwell on why me. I'm going to go back to my fallback question and say, what am I going to do? So I gave that some thought, and I have learned from experience that one does not go on a wonderful adventure alone. My experience has been that you need people behind you, you need a community to support you, all the things that I have benefited from over the years. So I decided I would reach out for some help, and I made a phone call to a good old Irishman. He's not that old, but a good Irishman, who some of you might know, a gentleman by the name of John Halpin. Now, John is the executive director of John Abbott College. And that conversation led to a meeting, led to a few more conversations, a little back and forth. And I'm very pleased to say it ended, or it's culminating with the fact that Mr. Mike Smallwood, is here this evening with us, along with Debbie Cribb, who are with the John Abbott College Foundation and the John Abbott College Communications Department. And then I made another phone call to another good old Irishman, and he is old. And again, it might be someone that some of you know, the former mayor of St. Anne de Bellevue, Mr. Bill Tierney. And what you may not know about Bill is that when John Abbott College opened its doors for the first time on day one, Bill was a teacher there. And then I made one more phone call. I called another good Irishman, again, someone that some of you might know. I called Mr. Doug Hurley, who is a current teacher at John Abbott College. And all of them have graciously agreed to help me. And they have formed I guess I could call it some sort of consultative committee of sorts. And with their help, I'm here tonight to answer the question. Given this honor, I can't tell you why I was chosen, but I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do about it. So this is my answer. I'm very pleased to announce tonight the creation of the O'Farrell Wondrous Adventure Scholarship. So that on every year on this night at this event, a $1,000 scholarship will be awarded to a young woman of Irish descent who is a student at John Abbott College from this community, for her to go on whatever wondrous adventure she chooses or happens to find herself on because she didn't see it coming. This scholarship fund is not completely vested, but I am taking on responsibility for the fundraising for it, and to make sure that this fundraising initiative has a nice long runway to take off on. My company has pledged to underwrite the first 10 years of this scholarship. To coming back to these evenings where we can hear the tales of other people's wondrous adventures. And I'm not sure where they're all going to end up, but I am hopeful because I know where they're going to begin. And they begin here tonight, right here, on a cold winter day in March 2019. When a bunch of old Irishmen in Hudson, St. Lazare got a knock on the door and thought, it's finally time to let a woman join the party.
Representing 2019
I think I'm the only person that's ever received this sash that had to, as we prepare for these days, and there's a lot going on before we get here, but I don't think any of the old Irishmen ever had to worry about getting to their hair appointment on time.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Oh my God. Yes, you can go sit down now. Go finish your glass of wine, red and not white. Have a wonderful evening. I'm inviting everyone here to come and listen to the wonderful musical musings of our good friend, Mr. John McGale, who'll be playing in the bar over there. This talented young musician has been around for, well, I've known him for a long time. Let's just leave it at that. He is so talented. Please spend a few minutes over the bar, enjoy the music, get up and dance a little bit.